Hello, my name is Fox. This is Fox Games, and welcome to Kerbal Space Program. Okay, folks, so today I'm going to do my best to teach you how to get into orbit around Kerbal. So this is for my very new to space games players, those who are struggling to take the first major step, and essentially everything is the stepping stone and just a transition of what we're going to learn here. So going to moons, going to other planets is just a multi-step version of what we're going to do right now. So I recommend sandbox mode, so that way you're not worrying about parts constraints or anything. And we're gonna do a simple manned orbit. Smaller here. Let's start with a smaller rocket, so that way you can transition this into your career mode a little easier. So we'll start with the Mach 1, and let's go. First thing we're gonna want. Oh no, that's too big. Which one is it? This one? Yep. I'm used to working with large rockets, so we put the Mach 16 parachute on, and then personally recommend a couple of drogues. Do them symmetrical so we keep the weight balanced, and then because this is going to be a manned re-entry, we're going to want 125 meter. Alright, we're going to want a heat shield. That way we're safe coming in. And that is all you need for a re-entry, basic re-entry for low orbit. And then we're going to go couplers. Get the 12. You can do it here, it works, but obviously here looks better. So we're going to attach that. Then we go into fuel tanks. And let's see. Grab the big ones. 1. 2. We'll go 3, I think. Swivel, so you're going to want it's a little less thrust, but not by much. And alright, so our aim here is roughly 4,000 meters per second to obtain orbit. So I'd imagine we can probably achieve that one of two ways. We could do fuel. Yeah, that's really not going to gain us much more because we're going to be starting to add too much weight air. And then, so now we've got this reverse, so what we want is these engines and this engine to kick on together. Obviously we want that to happen before decoupling, and then our final decouple. Alright, now I'm actually a little rock here, so let's do real quick. Take this off. Let's just, because that's the first stage, so let's go back in really quick and add a second stage, which we will do. We're not going to need that much fuel since we're only doing the burn. So let's go with the 400. Go with options are. Let's just go with another swivel, and then you go, we add another one of them, and now we can add in there. We don't want that to happen, so this needs to be separated up. So engine 1 and the boosters kick on, and then we want the boosters to separate. Separated. So once that's done, we're gonna should still have some fuel left in our main. So we'll guide off that. Then we're gonna want first stage and second stage to separate. And then we're gonna want that second stage engine to kick on. And then our final separation, so that we can safely parachute back in. Okay. Now, I think this will get us. Let's do some aerodynamic assist here. Basic nose cones. Probably come in with some early. Probably a little option here and do like some wings for addition. And then if we grab these and actually lower it just a little bit below main engine, this should stand on its own. Make sure everything's stayed in order. And just kick on. Boosters kick off. Separation. Secondary engine. Separation. Parachutes. Okay. Let's grab. Okay, we got pilot. Good. Let's see if. Oh, wrong one. I wanted. That's the side we want. Alright, yep, see. Stands on its own. Alright, first things first. Hit T. Toggle on your SAS. That's your flight assist. Hit Z. Throttle your engine all the way to 100. And 3, 2, 1. Hit that space button, and away we go. Try and keep centered. Just want to build a little speed here for a second. See, our solid fuel is burning way quicker than our liquid fuel. Let's get a little height here. We're going to go straight up for a second. And then around 2,000 meters, start just tapping. Tap, 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 D. Starting to pick up some speed here, so let's throttle back down to like half. Keep that D. Try and stay as close to 90 as possible. We're just gonna, nope, not RCS. On the D. We're just gonna try and hold this line. Drop those boosters. Kick that engine back on all the way. We're slowly, so you don't tip over too fast. You want to guide your way to this 90 until we're at, I don't know, roughly 30 should hopefully give us enough. So let's just boom, cut the engine real quick. Hit M, switch our map. Where are we at? Our apoapsis is only about 50,000. Okay, so let's do Z. We want to try and bring that up to, I don't know, like 75 is a good aim. Just hold along this 90 mark. You can slowly kind of tip it out. We don't quite want to go too much past 45 there quite yet. We'll start losing our height in our apoapsis and it'll start flattening out a little too early. So boom, about 75, boom, cut the engine. And now we're just going to enjoy the ride for a second. We got a good amount of fuel left. We might not have needed our secondary stage, but we got it just in case. That's really only for re-entry. Alright, let's check our ride to apoapsis. And the smart thing to be in is on the way up, just click on your apoapsis, add maneuver. And then just bring this across until you see your periapsis switch to your apoapsis. Now you know that's going to be a plotted safe orbit, and that's going to give you a timeline. So we got about 30 seconds to our apoapsis, which we want to start burning half the time of a burn. So our burn's a little over a minute, so I should have started at a little over 30 seconds. That's okay, and then you're going to want to swing that down to blue, or you can just click maneuver. Probably be easier. Aiming towards the burn, and now as you can see it's pretty much on a horizontal plane, which is going to keep our current height, but it's going to start to add momentum around. So as you can see, this blue is going to just keep growing, and yep, it's a good thing we have secondary, because you see this white line right here, that's where we're going to run out of fuel on our first stage. Then we'll have to switch to our second stage. Just keep that burn. Out of fuel, detach, kick on that second stage. Stabilize when you see that little shift there, and boom, we've got a nice little orbit going. You can see apoapsis a little high, just out of the safe zone in here, and voila! Congratulations, if you've reached this point, you are now in a stable orbit around Kerbal. So your next step for yourself is you're going to hit C. You're going to come into this capsule view. We're going to see, do we have any good views? No, that's right, Mach 1 doesn't. So let's see, we'll use Q here. There we go. Yep, you're gonna rotate rotate yourself until you can see the beautiful planet beneath you. Because you have done it. You are now in orbit. Give yourself a pat on the back. And let Houston know you've made it to orbit. Alright, and then we're going to take a nice ride in space. So, we're going to click on apoapsis. We're going to add another maneuver. This time, we're going to come over here to the retrograde. So we're going to go backwards. We want to lose some momentum. Let's see. If you play with this just right, we might be able to land roughly at Kerbal. So you want it to like just disappear. It really doesn't matter. You don't have to get specific. To this day, 500 hours, I really still can't land quite back at the Space Center. So, you can go ahead and enjoy the ride. We've got 20 minutes, but for the sake of this tutorial and speeding things up, we're going to go ahead and warp to our next maneuver. And as you can see, we get this beautiful, convenient. Alright, we're already pretty much in a retrograde. Position. So now, in this case, you can either just wait till you hit your apoapsis and click retrograde, or your maneuver is going to be slightly on, and now we're just kind of waiting, giving this little countdown, taking the beautiful sights, and from here it's all easy. So we've only got a 1 second burn, so it really doesn't matter. Personally, I don't like going straight for Z. I rather kind of just bring it up. Boom, done. We should now be set to crash in the MC. So I can play with. Let's see. Switch to program really quick. Let's see. Either way, as long as your periapsis drops under 60,000, as soon as we hit the atmosphere, it doesn't matter where you set that periapsis at. As you see, so where are we at right now? 400 plus. Let's bring it up. You can see this is dropping. So we're getting closer and closer and closer. Start slowing our time warps down on us. Alright, boom. And it drops it back down to first because we are now in range for the atmosphere. So, you've got 2 options realistically on re-entry. Since we have most of our fuel now, that's not enough fuel to stop us for a landing, obviously, but as you can see, we're going to start burning up, so you can use that to do some retrograde burn, help slow you down a little quicker. But this whole time you're decreasing where you're landing, so if you were trying to land in a specific area, you lost it. Now as soon as this is gone, detach. Or if you don't intend to use your fuel tank, detach before it creates a giant fireball, because that's going to explode and you don't want it to damage your capsule. Now that's why we put our heat shield on, and our heat shield, actually I don't even think this one needs a heat shield if I remember correctly. Now that I'm thinking about it, this one should have a built-in heat shield, So you can do this without this, so skip this part. These heat shields is a later unlock. Yeah, the capsules have built-in base heat shield enough for standard re-entry. If you have them unlocked, it does help. This is going to take all the heat, and this will never... It's not showing me my temp, but... And flame stopping, so we're coming out of Mach speeds. Jump this up to 4 times speed for the sake of time here. As long as you don't mess with... Oh. I almost forgot to do those in time. Make sure that you hit your spacebar one more time and that these are red or yellow before you get super low. The drogues kick in roughly at 100 meters per second, and then your main kicks in, I think, somewhere around like 20 meters per second. And you'll want those activated before you reach those speeds, or you might not slow down enough. This is a little high, you know, it's going to be fine, but for a super smooth landing, you'd want about half that. But boom, touchdown, and congratulations. You done it. You just went into orbit and returned your Kerbal safe and sound. You can recover the vessel. Follow me along with this in sandbox mode, so you can just kind of learn how to get into orbit, get comfortable with the controls. It's going to take some practice, especially when you're trying to dial in getting your angles correct. You're going to over tap D and flip yourself over. Just revert flight, start again, keep practicing. Remember, just kind of slowly tap so you keep control. And, you know, especially with the early pieces, you're just going to want to gently keep tapping on your keys, maintaining orientation on the 90-degree mark, and trying to hit about 45 degrees by roughly the 10,000 meters mark. And that'll get you into space and into orbit. And then I say, just wait till you hit your apoapsis to flatten out so that you use the most out of your height, least fuel, and boom, you'll be in an orbit. Save a little from your second stage so you can get back down, and you're good to go. So hopefully you succeeded, and if so, please leave me a thumbs up. If you got stuck anywhere, if you have any questions, comments, anything that I can help you with, please drop it in the comments below. I will do my best to help you out. And if you're not already subscribed, hit that subscribe button for more awesome tutorials, tips, tricks, and gameplay. My name's Fox, and I'm out.